Senator and Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz. Senator, great to see you tonight. So before we get to the delegates and last night, I want to talk to you about the news today, which is that Donald Trump has decided not to participate in the Fox News debate this upcoming Monday. You were ready to go. John Kasich was ready to go. Kasich said he's not going to go if Trump's not going. And your response to Mr. Trump's decision?
Well, Megan, it's great to be with you. And for whatever reason, it seems that Donald Trump finds you a very, very terrifying person. He skipped the debate in Iowa because you were going to be moderating. And I guess he doesn't like when anyone challenges him. You know, he was saying just a week ago that he was eager to get one-on-one with me. Well, this debate, the field is narrowed even more, and he could have had a direct debate with me, and yet Donald apparently is ducking. He's afraid of being challenged. And I think that's because the race has shifted to a terrain that is not favorable for him, even though the media is already ready to put a coronation on him. The reality is, going forward, the closer we get to a one-on-one battle, the worse Donald Trump does. He's been benefited by having a wide field, and Marco Rubio's decision to suspend his campaign last night was a bad blow for Donald Trump, because it means the opposition to Trump continues to unify and Republicans continue to unify behind our campaign.
I know you said, first of all, he says he's just done debating, but he also says that he agreed to do this important speech on Monday at AIPAC, and you've agreed to go there too, now that we have no debate. You say you're taking the debate to him. A, what do you make of his excuse? Sure. And B, what do you mean by you're going to take it to him?
Well, his excuse is silliness, and it reflects his assumption that he thinks the voters can't figure out that he's not telling them the truth. Listen, AIPAC would have allowed him to speak at any time. It's a multi-day conference. He chose to speak right in the middle of the debate because he's scared to debate. And you know, he looks down on the voters. He thinks they're gullible and will believe whatever he's saying. So I'm going to be in D.C. for AIPAC as well, since Donald is running away from the debate. I'm happy to debate him there. If he wants, we could debate foreign policy. But the problem is Donald doesn't do very well on foreign policy because he doesn't have even a basic modicum of knowledge. You know, 2 debates ago, Donald explained that if he were president, he'd be neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. That is a stunning statement. It's the kind of nonsense you hear from Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I'll tell you, Megan, if I'm president, I will not be neutral. America will stand unapologetically with Israel. And it says something about Donald Trump. If he can't tell the difference between our friends and allies, if he can't tell the difference between Israel and Islamic terrorists who want to murder us, that raises real questions about his fitness and his judgment to be commander-in-chief. And so I'm happy to debate him in Utah, where the debate was supposed to happen, or D.C., or anywhere else. But I suspect Donald will continue running and hiding and basking in the protection from the network media that is trying to do everything they can to make him the nominee, because they know he's the one candidate on the face of the planet that Hillary Clinton can beat in the general election.
Explain that. How has the media done that?
Well, the media has given him the equivalent of about $2 billion in free media. If you turn on the television at any given moment, it is a wall-to-wall infomercial. You know, when there were protests at his speeches in Chicago, the media ran every station, just hour after hour after hour, a telethon for Donald Trump. I kept expecting Jerry Lewis to come out and make an ask for money. And they do it constantly. Every network. And the point I make, this is not an accident. And it's not the host. Listen, I don't hold it against the host. It's the network execs. It's the suits in the suites who are almost all liberal partisan Democrats. They're ready for Hillary. And they do everything they can to saturate the airwaves. Donald Trump practically goes to the bathroom, and it gets carried live on network television. Every speech he gives, he does a press conference that's like watching the shopping channel. He's up there selling steaks and steak knives and wine. The media desperately wants him to be the nominee, and as a result, they don't cover anything about his record, about the fact that he had $1 million fine against him for hiring illegal aliens. You didn't see the media cover that till we brought it up in the debates, and they never brought it up again. You didn't see the media covering the fact that his hotel down in Florida hires foreign workers instead of American workers because he can pay them less. You don't see the media. When's the last time any of the network news have mentioned the fact that he refuses to hand over his tax returns? Mm-hmm. The media is doing everything they can to cover up his background. You've seen no reporting on his multiple business interactions with members of the mob. You've seen no reporting of that, and every bit of that, Megan, if he's the nominee, I guarantee you, September, October, November, every station, they'll cover all of that aspect. That's how they give the presidency to Hillary Clinton, and it's why so many Republicans are uniting behind our campaign.
I want to ask you about that.
Because at this point, we're the only campaign that has beaten Donald Trump over and over and over again, and that can and will beat
Let's
Donald
talk
Trump.
about the campaign. So last night, you did not manage to win outright any state. Missouri's not official yet, but it looks like that's going to go for Trump. Proportional, but still a win for him. You need to do two things, according to the experts. Number one, they say the math is not there. You'd have to win 75% of all the states from this point forward, which you're not going to do based on the past track record. No one's likely to do that, to win outright. So this thing, if you're going to be in it, is headed for a contested convention. I want you to opine on that, but I also want you to explain, how you do that and emerge, if that's where it goes, with a winning coalition. Donald Trump today said there will be riots if he gets to that convention and is pretty close to the nomination and is denied.
Well, listen, no one should be surprised that Donald Trump is trying to stir up riots. I wish we had a presidential candidate that was bringing us together instead of encouraging such things. But let's talk about the math, because a lot of people get the math wrong. To be the Republican nominee takes 1,237 delegates. There are only two candidates that have any plausible path to getting there, Donald Trump and me. Now, by the way, if Donald continues getting delegates at the same rate he has so far, he won't get
That's true.
to 1,237.
Correct. But neither will you.
He needs to get 54% of the remaining delegates to get there. He hasn't been doing that. He's been getting below 50%. Now, for me to get to 1,237, it's true, I need to get 78% of the delegates. But here's the important thing to understand. The way the delegate allocation math works, you don't have to get 78% of the vote to get 78% of the delegates. Going forward, if I beat Donald Trump 55 to 45 going forward, we get over 80% of the delegates. That's how the delegate allocation formulas work. And one of the things to keep in mind, Donald Trump has done horribly in closed primaries. There have been 16 closed primaries. He's lost 10 of them. He's only won 6.
Now, Florida was a big one.
Now, going forward,
Florida was a big one. That was closed, and he killed there.
Well, it was, but going forward, of the 22 remaining primaries and caucuses, only 4 are open caucuses where Democrats can vote, the kind that Donald Trump has done well. But secondly, here's the important thing. Donald has a hard ceiling of maybe 35 to 40%. He can't go above that. He's proven over and over again. Head-to-head, not only do I beat Donald, but I beat Donald by double digits. The last polling that came out had me beating him by 13 points. And what was critical about last night is Marco Rubio's decision to suspend this campaign. Marco is a good and talented man. He ran a remarkable campaign. And what we have been seeing all day today is Rubio supporters coming to us, unifying behind us, and we are welcoming Rubio supporters with open arms. That is very bad news for Donald Trump, because he's got a hard ceiling at 40. He benefited from us being divided, but we're unifying now,
the non-Trump
and unified
is looking very different than it looked just a couple of days ago. Senator, I got to run. It's great to see you, as always.
Thank you, Megan. God bless.
All the best.